Hello, everyone, and welcome to our first trip to Nintendoland for 2023. We're here. Hello, everyone. I'm Mike Burgess, and I'm here with Alex O'Neill as
Hello.
well. Yep, that's right. We're back to talk all things Nintendo. This is our monthly Irrational Passions podcast, all about Nintendo news and video games happening on Nintendo. And this will be a fun one. We took a break in January because we figured, like, what the heck is going to even happen in January? And not really anything happened in January, as you'd expect. Granted, we did get Fire Emblem Engage, and we'll talk about that here, but that was like
Yeah.
the very end of January anyway. And then a week later, we got a Nintendo Direct, and that's what we're going to talk
Yeah.
about here, because there's a ton of stuff. As always, it's that first Direct of the year, right? So of course we're kind of going to get the big juicy announcements, get an idea of like what the first half of Nintendo's year is like, and then like teases of kind of things that are going to be beyond that. And I think this Direct definitely did a lot of really cool stuff and gave us a lot of really cool video games to play right out the gate,
Yeah, right away.
which we're definitely going to talk about. We've both been playing one of those games and a few demos as well, and there's been some fun stuff to check out. But yeah, we're going to talk about this Nintendo Direct that just happened. I think we'll do it a little differently this time. I thought we could do like it kind of more in a fun gamey sort of sense, instead of just kind of going and breaking down each single announcement and just being like, yeah, okay, that was announced, sure, whatever. We could do a more of a, was this announcement hot or spicy, or was this announcement sour and left a bad taste in our mouth? So that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna go through some of the announcements, and we're gonna see if they were spicy and good, or were they sour, and like I said, left a bad taste in your mouth. I think there's one. I, I don't want to necessarily start in order,
Okay.
because I think
We don't have to.
there was definitely some big juicy ones. Um, granted, I do know there's one particular that you have another thesis breakdown to give us on, so maybe we'll leave
Yeah.
that one for later on.
Yeah, we can
Um,
leave that.
so I will give my first spicy announcement that I thought
Please.
was a pretty spicy and fun one, which was earlier in the Direct, and I think was like kind of got overshadowed very quickly. And that was like this Dead Cells DLC that is straight up just like making Castlevania in Dead Cells. This looks
Yeah.
that looks awesome. Like that
Yeah, it
DLC. That's
does.
like kind of unexpected, just because like you have this kind of scenario where like Dead Space, or not Dead Space, Dead Cells
It's
came
on the
out.
mind.
Yeah, it is on the mind. I'm playing a lot of that. But Dead Cells came out, a while ago, and has been getting like it's gotten updates like since it kind of started early access and hit 1.0,
Hmm.
then had some like DLC updates post that. But I feel like this has been like the biggest one, and you straight up are like you're playing Dead Cells, the roguelite game, but you're going through like Castlevania environments. Richter and Simon, and I think
Alucard.
Alucard are there. They straight up show like you will fight iconic Castlevania bosses like Dracula and all kinds of stuff. You will get like Castlevania abilities, like they show like the boomerang cross and like whip attacks and all kinds of stuff. That just looks super cool, and like a really cool
Yeah.
crossover. And like I was trying to think of like the closest thing, like something that I think a lot of people hoped for from more Nintendo games was when we got that Cadence of Hyrule, like that kind of crossover with those two
Exactly my
games.
thought.
It's like
Yeah.
we haven't gotten a lot of that, and now we're like at least getting something like that with this, which I thought was really cool. And I thought that was just a really cool announcement, right?
Yeah, it seems like somebody was like the liaison between the Dead Cells developers and Konami, kind
Right.
of, and maybe it was Nintendo, maybe it was somebody else. Kind of got the relationship talking and got them together. Of like, clearly Konami's like, whatever, sure.
Yeah, we ain't
um,
doing anything with this.
yeah, exactly. And we're certainly not going to make a new one. So yeah, why not?
Yeah.
And yeah, this is cool. Obviously, all those Metroidvania roguelikes that are very inspired by Castlevania games. it's cool to see like new remixed Castlevania music in this, and like classic Castlevania tracks on top of that. The levels, Vampire Killer, iconic weapon.
Yeah.
Again, I'm curious like what the story stuff will be. I'm curious if this is like a totally separate menu option that's all kind of self-inclusive. But it's out soon, right? I don't remember what the date was.
Yeah, I don't remember what the date was exactly either, but I think it was pretty soon. Like I want to say it was maybe March, like sometime in March or even early April. I can fact check that real quick. But that was my first.
I'm working on it.
Spicy. Well, I was gonna say. I was gonna ask you what your first spicy or sour announcement was from the direct now.
So spicy or sour. I mean,
it's March 6th.
March 6th. Yeah, it's so soon.
Yeah, it's like less than a month. Cool.
It's funny. Like I think this is one of those directs too. Just as an overview, is very specific. Like it's very funny how directs have become things that will. A direct has kind of like a flavor to it that will appeal to a niche audience, I think.
Sure. Yeah.
And they build it around it. There's a lot of RPGs in this.
Yeah.
So
yeah. That's fair.
I was pretty positive on it overall, but I know many people were not as positive on it. But which is totally fine. But I would say maybe this is a sour take. Maybe this is a bad sour take.
Okay,
and I could see this being spicy for somebody else. So like,
sure.
I wanted more out of the Pikmin 4 trailer.
Okay, is
how I felt.
Okay, it's sour. It's a little sour.
A little sour. I mean,
sure.
Pikmin 3 kind of lost me. I loved the first two. I would say like 2 has like weird stuff in it where it's like these weird like endless dungeons, and it seems like that's coming back for this game also, which is not a huge great thing for me.
Sure.
And they show some new Pikmin. They show this dog, weird meme dog that is terrifying.
Yeah.
I think it was like the kind of funny guys reacting afterwards. The guy's like, "Did you see that dog?" And they were like, "We don't know how it got in here. It's just been in the game. We can't get it out."
It just showed up one day. We can't get rid of it. Yeah, it's pretty funny.
Yeah. We got Ice Pikmin. They show some cool stuff like being able to jump up on the dog and all your Pikmin are riding, so you can get across water and you can freeze the surface of water, stuff like that. I like some of these interactions. I just like nothing about it seems new to Pikmin, right? It's just like, all right, here's some more Pikmin and a dog.
Yeah.
Looks good, but Pikmin 3 kind of had the same issue of like, here's a couple of new Pikmin, and then it's just Pikmin.
It's just Pikmin, yeah.
And I couldn't get into it. So yeah, I just this didn't have me going like I'm gonna buy Pikmin 4 for sure. It just kind of left me in the same place where I was like, okay, it looks like more Pikmin,
right?
And that's kind of not where I wanted to be.
Yeah. I'm a little bit there with you. Like I think this was like kind of our first proper like look at it, and like I think we needed another hook. Mm-hmm. I think for me as well, like I needed something else. Like there was definitely a point in that trailer where they showed all that stuff where you see the dog and you're doing a little extra. The dog gives you a little bit of extra utility for getting around environments and stuff. And they showed Ice Pinkman briefly, which like had like an interesting more combat approach. And there was like one moment that like, but it's like at the very end of the trailer, which seemed like it maybe was teasing that there was maybe like some more co-op-y type stuff going on, like because it showed your character, I guess whoever the little astronaut is, gets into their spaceship and flies off, but they were with like a whole like squad of other like spacemen in like similar colored outfits or spacesuits. So I kind of like I don't know, it gave me the vibe that there was maybe like some like co-op-y stuff, and that they also teased that like there's going to be like a more proper like night going maybe out in the nighttime will be an actual thing, which it always was not really a thing in the previous games, right? So like I kind of agree with you. Like this definitely was like the first trailer definitely just felt like, okay, Pinkman, sure, but is like what is like there's got to be a hook here, right? It can't just be more Pinkman, but who knows? There's definitely a little bit of I don't want to say the Switch is like over with by any means. I think there's still like some time in the Switch lifespan here, which I know like people don't like to hear, but like there's definitely a vibe of like this game and like some other games that we've gotten more recently, which like they feel like tail end console games where they're just like it is this, but it's just kind of more of it, and you're just kind of like okay, like that's very much how I felt like about Splatoon 3. And also now like this trailer a little bit definitely felt like that a little bit. So I at least hope there is maybe something a little bit more to it as well, like some kind of hook.
If we get like online co-op and stuff, that could be really fun for sure. Yeah. Which I don't remember if the Switch port of Pikmin 3 had online co-op.
I don't think it did. I don't think it had online co-op, and that was definitely
had the local
a detriment to it. Because I know it had like some kind of mini game thing, and I don't know if those were online. I think it did have some online component, but it was definitely not the like online component you would want. Whereas I do remember that, at least I don't remember the specifics, but I definitely remember people just being like, "Oh yeah, it doesn't have online. Well, never mind." Kind of moment.
It's just it's also a lot of pressure because it's like it's a cold open on Pikmin 4, right?
Yeah.
So there's a lot. You got to have something banger. Especially when I saw that, I'm like, okay, we're ending with Zelda. I know that now.
Yeah.
It kind of like resets all of the expectations of what the direct is. I mean, I'm hopeful. I just like Pikmin 3 lost me so hard, and I want to love Pikmin again.
Yeah.
But we'll have to wait and see.
And I will say at least like July's it got delayed. I think it was July 20th was the date. It was definitely in July
or 21st.
Yeah, it was definitely in that July timeframe, which is a good place for that game to be.
Didn't think it was going to come out that soon, to be honest.
Yeah. So that's a good place for it. For sure.
Yeah.
Let's see.
July 21st for
July 21st. Nice. So my next up one, I'll give one of my sour takes here. And this is a little. I'm gonna admit this is just cheating a little bit because I'm gonna put a couple. I'm gonna blanket this all in because there's a couple announced like this. And this is like Nintendo's weird like stance on like having like games with amazing DLC. Like one of I would say a spicy announcement I'll talk about later, but also a lot of sour ones. Like a couple they showed across this. Like the DLCs that just feel like they were all announcements that were like, here's this first part of the DLC that you're probably not going to care about, and but we're going to tease the second part that's way cooler. And this is probably what you actually want. But anyway, you're going to buy this. You have to buy this expansion pass now to get all that. And it was like Xenoblade Chronicles 3, Fire Emblem Engage, and Splatoon 3. Like all three of them got like an exact. It was like one for one that where it's just like here's this new DLC character lady for Xenoblade 3. She's just a lady, and that's what you get. But also here's this next part that looks way cooler because you're like it has like the characters from the previous game. In the future,
Shulk and Rex like fighting together.
Yeah, like fighting together as like grown adult men, and like against
Rex
some person.
Got, like, a
you're
goatee.
Just like even like I've not played those games, but even that was like, whoa, that looks cool. That's like crazy.
Yeah,
not unexpected. And then like it was weird. And then like Splatoon. Oh man, Splatoon was like actually like legitimately worse than that somehow. Where like the first part of that DLC is literally they're just taking the hub area from I think the first Splatoon game or maybe the second one, and you can just I don't know, you can just be in that hub, I guess. What's the point of that? I don't understand. And it's like,
don't worry, all the shops sell all the same gear,
all the same gear, and like what is this for? Who is this for? Like who's gonna spend money on like this part of the expansion pass? Especially when they teased like the actual thing, which is gonna be like a story kind of DLC, like the Octo expansion we had last time, and like that looked like the little tease they had there looked cool. Wild. Like it looked like freaking like Splatoon expansion, and you're just like, okay, that's cool. And then they just showed like 3 seconds of that, and then just left. And they're like, here, buy the expansion pass for both of these, and it's like, wow, you're literally just trying to upsell this weird other thing that is just like it has to be like a low effort. Like I don't know. Granted, I'm not like hardcore into Splatoon, but I really don't feel like I saw anybody being like, Splatoon 3 was coming out and they were just like, oh man, I'm so bummed that I can't hang out in Splatoon 2's hub anymore. Like I didn't see anybody saying that. Like, so I don't understand this. Such a weird thing.
Yeah, this is the kind of thing that should be free, right? Like
Yes.
you should be able to like go to the hub of Splatoon 1 and 2. I think bringing that into the game would be cool, just like a free update.
Yeah.
But no, they're like, no, it's part of the expansion pass. You gotta pay up.
Pay up to go to the Splatoon 2 hub and have Callie and Marie sing there for every so often or whatever. And it's like, oh, whatever. I did not like that. That was
I had a similar feeling.
Most sour, one of the most sour announcements from this direct.
I had a similar feeling about the like Kirby Return to Dreamland and expansion that they're adding.
Yeah.
Which is very like, kind of Bowser's Inside Story, or not Bowser's Inside Story, Bowser's Fury. God, I don't know why I always get this confused. Also, I should write that down because I actually played Bowser's Fury finally.
Nice.
Awesome. I'll talk about that later. I similar feeling of, here's this extra thing. They explained it better in that, that just comes with the games.
It's at least just like in the game rather than like extra DLC or whatever, which would have been worse. But yeah, I feel that. Weird. And like it did have that extra sting of like those things of just like, you have these extra modes and they're local co-op only. That's like that sting of that Kirby game, because like that Kirby game's fun. I remember that it's like the Wii one, that's the remake, and that one's like a good Kirby game from that 2D side scrolling era, but just like the fact that it's local co-op like really does just kind of kill it for me.
Yeah. It's not ideal. Okay. Getting spicy again.
Let's hear it.
We gotta talk about Ghost Trick Phantom Detective finally making its way back, baby. I love this game. I reviewed this game in 2011 on irrationalpassions.com, I believe.
That's
I'm trying to find it right now. This is a DS game. It is like an adventure game, kind of like a reimagining of like point and click adventure games. It's this kind of singular mechanic of you die at the beginning of the game and you become a ghost, and you can kind of like, you have a very short range that you can hop from object to object and like haunt that object and make it do something. And then by jumping into a corpse, you can rewind to the moments just before they died, in time, like go back in time as this ghost, which is like wild. And I will tell you, like, that is the premise of the story, and I can't even prepare you for how wild this story gets in this game.
Cool.
But it's like weirdly emotional. It's cool. It's an epic journey. Really clever puzzles. It's a lot about like setting a thing up to make a person move from one spot to another, to then set another thing up and create these kind of like trickle down effects. And it is phenomenal. It's like, things on the DS are locked and lost to the DS in a kind of preservation sense, right? So having these ports is really the only way to kind of keep them modern, or have a modern and reusable way to access it.
To play them again,
this is great, and it looks great. They've kind of kept the art style but HDified it. It did this whole cool like 3D pixels things. The closest comparison is like Dead Cells, weirdly enough, where they kind of look like 3D people and character models, but they're all pixelated.
Right. Okay.
And not a lot of games have ever really done it, and I think Ghost Trick did it best, to be honest.
Cool.
But yeah, highly recommended. I don't remember the release date. I think it's this summer. They didn't give a date. That's right.
Yeah, it's this summer, and I think it's coming to other stuff too. But I think it's first on Switch, but then it'll come to other things. It's cool. Like that was definitely a big theme too of like that I really liked about this direct was like it was a lot of ports of stuff, but it was like ports of like things that just like have been that were really good games that have just been like locked away on older systems in places, and they're just like hard to get to now. Like you said, Ghost Trick just kind of being a 3DS thing. We have like other HD ports of like GameCube games, we'll talk about, and then like other like 3DS games getting follow-ups, which I'm going to talk about right now as my next spicy, as a
Yeah.
spicy announcement I have here. They announced a new freaking Fantasy Life game.
Yes.
Fantasy
Yes.
Life was
We
awesome.
won!
We won. That was so cool to see that, like, and it's a proper like Switch game.
Yep.
At first, Fantasy Life on 3DS was like a really fun game. It was definitely like it was like a gem of a game. And I think it definitely did not get enough eyes on it because I think it came pretty late in the 3DS era of games. So like not a lot of people saw it, but I think it would have been a game if people gave a shot, like would have really fallen into it because it was like one of those games, like, you know, your farm kind of adventure, like your kind of like cozy farm games, but there's like a little bit more RPG, like JRPG kind of action to it. Like it kind of blends those really well.
Yeah, it's like, what if we took Job System and Animal Crossing and merged them
into one really cool thing, and it was really well done. So the fact that it's just getting a full on new game on Switch is awesome.
Dreams come true.
So yeah, so I'm really stoked for that, and that's like a good place for it. I'm sure. I hope it will come to other things because like I would also love to like play that on Steam Deck as well.
It's level 5, so yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, that's true. Level 5 had a comeback for sure. This direct for sure. They had a lot of announcements here, and like I feel like they've not been around for quite some time in terms of like games that have come out. I was trying to remember like the last time they had like this many things at once, and it's like dang, like like, you know, they're popping off here on the old Nintendo Switch this year. But yeah, I don't think that Fantasy Life game got a specific announcement date. I think it just said 2023.
Yeah.
But yeah, that is awesome. I'm happy to see that coming back.
Agreed. I love Fantasy Life. What a classic.
Yep.
I agree that is a game a lot of people missed out on. That's really fun.
Yes.
And you know, Switch sells, so like hopefully it does really well here.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we got to talk about it. We got to talk about Metroid Prime.
That's right.
Metroid Prime.
Spicy. Time to get to the real spice. Which, Grant,
like
we're also going to talk about it in like games we've been playing because they revealed and dropped on the same day this is direct Metroid Prime Remastered. They remastered Metroid Prime, and like, you know, they did pretty much what I think you would want out of like a true remastered of like the game is pretty much that game, but all the visuals are like fully up to, like pretty modern visuals.
Yeah. All new character models for every single thing.
For every single thing. It's still full 60 frames. It's still you have all the options for different controls. So you can have like modern control where you just, you know, use dual joysticks, or you can go back to the classic, you know, style where it just kind of locks on for you. To a sense, you can straight up pull out a freaking Wii remote and use pointer and Wii remote aim with it. You can hook up a GameCube controller through the adapter and use an original GameCube controller to play this remastered.
It's incredible.
It is fantastic.
We'll talk about it later, but it's just good vibes.
Yes, that definitely was the big thing. Yes, awesome.
Everyone in our Slack was screaming.
Yes, losing our minds. That it's real. We pour one out to Jeff Grubb's shaven head because he was 2 months off.
Yeah. Thank you for your service, Jeff Grubb.
Thank you for your service. This does bring up the hope that because his original rumor was we would get this remastered version of Metroid Prime, and then 2 and 3 are coming, but they will be more just like traditional HD kind of ports. I hope maybe this does really well, and maybe they you know, rethink
up the budget on those,
that, and maybe make them like, you know, this kind of updated version of those two. But we'll have to wait and see.
Me too.
It'd be awesome, but that would also probably mean that they have them holding off Prime 4 even longer. And now having this, I'm now very hungry for that Prime 4.
Yeah. Still good. 21 years later.
Yeah, still
10 out of 10.
Yeah, still one of the best out there. But yeah, that's a hot one for sure. Let me see. Let me scroll through here real quick as I'm looking at
I think I only got spicy things left. I mean, I could dunk on what's it called, Samba de Amigo, if I really wanted to, but I don't. Or Fashion Dreamer, but I don't
Yeah,
feel the need.
yeah,
You know?
exactly. Yeah, exactly. Like those do not those are not worthy enough as like to dunk on. I will do a spicy here
Mm-hmm.
because we only really have the spice left. And that is we got a brief tease of Wave 4 of Mario Kart DLC, and we got to see a Yoshi's Island track for Mario Kart 8 Deluxe.
Oh,
This track
looks
looks
so good.
this looks track looks phenomenal. It is straight up they just straight up took the if you booted up Yoshi's Island on the Super Nintendo and you see like the little island at the start, they basically made that into a track where you're like racing around and going through the parts of the tracks, and they're based on the levels where you have the autumn kind of fall area with chain chomps and Shy Guys on stilts in one area, then you're going underwater in another area, and you're like flying up, you're driving up a volcano, and then you like fly off it into like a cloud land.
Mm-hmm.
There's Yoshi coins, like the coins on the track are the like Yoshi coins with the Yoshi face on it. When you can hear in the trailer, if you listen closely, you can hear when a character picks him up, it's like making all the sound effects from Yoshi's Island, the game
And
in
the
it.
item things are little question mark,
Yeah.
or they at least have additional question mark
So
clouds.
what that is that question mark cloud is in the gliding section, and if you hit it, it makes an extra path like it does in the game. So like
Oh, that's so cool.
you can see it briefly in one of the shots. You can see like them. You can
Yeah.
see a new character also being added in the DLC, which is a first for the Waves 4. We see Birdo as a playable racer, and she is like Yoshi, where you can pick a bunch of different colors as her, and she like hits one of those blocks or one of those like question mark clouds in the air, and you can look down below at the track, and you see a bunch of like the little red step ladder-y looking things appear above like where you would normally land on the track, and it looks like it takes you down like a different path. So yeah, this track just looks really cool. It's the only track we saw for it. It was just a little tease, which was really cool. Yeah, we know it's spring 2023, so I'm guessing this is going to be like end of March, early April, because
Yeah.
that was when the first original wave a year ago launched, I think, for the start of the DLC. Yeah, this is awesome. I want to ask you,
Mhm.
now that we have characters coming in, because we also got confirmation that there was a press release like alongside all, of course, for all the direct news, and they confirmed that there will be characters coming each wave now. There will, like, they didn't say how many characters each wave, so we might only be getting like a character per wave, like we see Birdo here in this wave. We might get another character here. We don't know yet. I don't think they've specified if there will be multiple characters each wave. But who do you want in? Who do you want in? Who do you want to see?
Ooh.
Either like I'm guessing it'll stay in the realm of Mario characters, because
Sure.
like I'm guessing like we have to pull from, since the DLC is pulling from all of previous Mario Kart and Mario Kart Tour. That still leaves like a lot, because like Tour has like
I-
basically every character in Mario in it.
I'll say this. I think Captain Falcon's got a shot. I think
Okay,
he's got a shot. He's already got 2 tracks in there, so it's not like
Sure.
they got to add another
Yeah.
F-Zero track. He's got an iconic vehicle that they can easily turn into a Mario Kart. And I want to see those thighs on a goddamn motorcycle.
yeah,
all
just
right?
like up to his head
yeah,
as he
absolutely way too
scrunches
big.
into a tiny little car.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say Captain Falcon if Link wasn't already in there, but he's another
Yeah.
humanoid, and they could just kind of make the proportions similar to him. But yeah, I think Captain Falcon's got a shot.
Okay, cool. I think because I've that same day as somebody who still checks in with Mario Kart Tour like the sicko that I am. That same day we actually got a new original track in Mario Kart Tour as well, and it's called Piranha Plant Cove. And it basically is the first time a tour car. It's a completely original track. Like obviously, like Tour has a lot of city-based tracks, but this is like an original Tour track. It's basically, like I said, Piranha Plant Cove. It's basically a mixture of like these ancient kind of ruins, underwater ruins that you're driving around. But the thing with it is like those city tracks, where it has multiple variants. So right now in Tour, you can play Piranha Plant Cove 1 and 2. And
Say that 5 times
yeah, I
fast.
know, and assuming there will probably be a third one later, like Tour, and they will basically probably in a future Mario Kart DLC wave, they will drop them all together as one track, and it'll play out through different routes each lap. Which is the first time like a original Tour track has done that, because we got like the Christmas track last wave and the ice cream track, and they were pretty much just big kind of ovals and loops almost. They were kind of a little bit more basic. But this is the first time one of those original tracks is getting that treatment. And a big thing in that track is there's a bunch of iconography of a certain PD Piranha all over that track, because there's straight up this big ruin that you race up, and there's big PD Piranha heads, like statue heads, like on the ruins everywhere. So I think he's it's Piranha Plant Cove. So there's like piranha plants all over the track as well. So I'm assuming that would be a safe
King
bet.
Boo needs his partner back. You know what I mean?
Exactly. I think that would be a pretty safe bet for either maybe not this wave. I would say maybe like the summer wave or whatever the last wave ends up bringing us. That would be my easy lock as another character coming in.
Yeah, especially like they mentioned Birdo's come back from Double Dash. Peter Piranha was also in Double Dash. So
yeah,
that makes sense.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, banger for sure. Super stoked. I'm super impressed with this DLC. Like, as this compared to the previous things, these weird expansion passes they've been talking about. Like, this Mario Kart DLC has only gotten better and better like each wave, and it seems like this fourth wave is going to continue that trend, because if it has some of the other tracks that were supposedly like in a leak when like some of the music got pulled out, there's like a lot of really cool tracks in that. Like there will definitely be a GameCube Double Dash track in here for sure. There will be one of my favorite actual tour tracks, was like one of the city ones called Singapore Speedway. It's actually a really cool track. It's like it's a nighttime city track, and like you have one lap where you're straight up like getting shot of a cannon onto like the top of this huge skyscraper that has like Goombas in a pool that you're like driving through, and then you're racing around all kinds of city streets and these crazy like light up bridges and stuff. It's really actually like a cool looking track even for tour. So if that track ends up being in here, which was a part of that leak that was supposed to be coming this wave as well, that would be really cool. Just to finally show off some really cool tour tracks.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah, looks so good. We've gone from the Smash era to the Mario Kart era. Mm-hmm. It's funny how one of the two of the most successful games that they've had, they managed to figure out how to do DLC for, at least. So
yeah, for
gives
sure.
Me hope.
Yeah, it gives me hope that my hope is what is happening here is that like. In this kind of building and development of this DLC, it is more so building, like, this is kind of training and teaching the team that will go on to make whatever the next Mario Kart is. Mm-hmm. And they can build off of, they clearly started on Tour and built off of Tour and are now going into 8 and taking everything that was good about 8 and implementing those back into like the stuff they did in Tour. And if they could somehow combine that into some amalgamation of a full new Mario Kart, I think it could be a really, really cool game.
I can tell you it's going to sell well.
Yes, yeah, it will sell a lot still. Because I mean, that's definitely got to be the reason why they're still banking on 8, because it sold so well, and now it's like, well, now we got to follow this up. What the fuck do we do?
Exactly.
What do we even do after what is it, like probably over 50 million or more something?
Yeah,
Mario Kart
it might be
sold.
more. It might be 60. Like I really don't know. It's like a 50% attach rate to Switch.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's wild. So go ahead.
Spicy.
What do you got for spicy?
It's more spicy stuff, just because a lot of good stuff in here. The GBA and Game Boy coming to Switch finally. We've been talking about this for decades.
Yeah, I was gonna say we definitely talked about that like episodes months ago now. And
when it leaked, right? The emulator leaked, right?
The emulator leaked, and it gave us a bunch of game names for Game Boy and Game Boy original and Game Boy Advance games, and it seems like they just gave them both at once. And they did it
Mhm.
in a way that makes complete sense, where you can get original Game Boy games if you have like the base Nintendo Switch Online subscription. But if you have the expansion pack, you will also then get Game Boy Advance games alongside that. Um,
Yeah.
and they also just straight
And
up dropped this the day of the direct, so like those are all available now, which is also pretty crazy that they just were like, oh yeah, here, there it all is. There you go.
uh, a lot of good titles out the gate, right? I really love that they added Game Boy Color filters to games that didn't ever have Game Boy Color filters, like
Oh,
Metroid
cool.
2, for example. Never had like an official Game Boy Color aesthetic, but now it does. And
Nice.
Mario Land 2, which looks great. And also the I think the library is solid, and we got good teases of things to come. Like they showed the games that you want that are coming: Metroid Fusion, Oracle of Ages, Oracle of Seasons, Golden Sun. Like those are the
Yeah.
games that you want. They are coming.
Yep,
Don't worry.
they're all there, and there's a lot good there too. Like they put freaking Minish Cap on there. You got Superstar Saga from Mario and Luigi, both like phenomenal games. I think they put the Wario Land 3 on there. That's like the original Game
Yep.
Boy Wario Land. I hope they do Wario Land 4 though at some point, because that game was a sleeper. Um,
Yeah.
what else I know they had, you said like they had Metroid 2. I think they also said Pokemon trading card game was coming at some point, and I have to imagine, we're in like the middle of February now. Usually, the end of February is when we usually get that Pokemon Presents that kind of tells us what's coming this year
Yeah.
for Pokemon.
That's why we didn't hear about any Pokemon
I would
stuff,
I would imagine the reason we did not hear about any particular Game Boy Pokemon games or GBA Pokemon games is because they will just probably talk about them there. Whether they will drop right then and there, I don't think so. But maybe they will say like, hey, here's like red, blue, or maybe just red and blue are coming later this year, and so and then we'll get like maybe Ruby and Sapphire as well, or maybe they might just cut the OG ones out and do like Fire Red, Leaf Green for the Game Boy Advance and put those on there. That'd be really cool too, and just do those ones instead. I'd be totally down.
We got WarioWare, you can't ever complain when you get WarioWare.
Yeah, you got the original GBA WarioWare. That's pretty cool. They also, I think they also said, Japan got also another really good game. I forget which one it was.
Oh yeah, it did.
But I think it was like the Frog Prince game.
Yes, I think that
like the Japan version of like the GBA Online. You can go play that. So that's cool. I'm hoping they've not had the best rollout of some of this stuff because they've usually been like monthly drops for N64 games, right? So I'm guessing this will. I mean, we still know we have N64 games coming each month because I know we haven't gotten all the ones.
We're still waiting on the Stadium games and I think one other thing.
So like Mario, I think there's still another Mario Party that has to come.
Mario Party 3, I think.
I think has to come on there. So like we'll probably still get some N64 games, but we'll hopefully also start getting those GBA games soon as well. But yeah, great addition for sure.
Yeah, the Japan got the Frog for Whom the Bell Tolls, which is an old action RPG for the Game Boy, and the two different Fire Emblem titles for the Game Boy Advance.
Okay, got it.
Because they were Japan exclusives.
Right. Cool. But yeah, there also was a Fire Emblem GBA game on there too, right?
Yeah, the original Fire Emblem in the US is also coming to the
it's coming later.
The US ones.
Cool.
So, but yeah, it's coming later.
Excellent. Yeah, let's see. I think I can find one other. Let's see if there's any other, because like you said, like a couple of the remaining things are like, they were fine, but nothing crazy. Like I will say, my spicy. I have another spicy here that's like a quick one, and like it's gonna just be like an own personal problem for me that I've made for myself. Was Octopath Traveler 2 demo is here. And that's similar to like what Square does for a lot of those, and they will have, and that will carry over to the base game. Look, I am super stoked for Octopath Traveler 2. But if you know us, we have another. Me and Alex have another podcast that we've recently been. I think it started since the last time we did a Nintendoland episode.
Yeah.
To be fair,
Yeah.
where we talk about Destiny 2. It's not a Nintendo game, but it is a podcast we both host and do stuff for. The biggest, a major expansion and update to the game. That game is coming out 4 days after Octopath Traveler does, so I'm not going to be able to play it till probably much later, unfortunately. And I am bummed by that because it looks amazing. Like it looks like everything you'd want a sequel for Octopath 2, and I liked Octopath 1 a lot. It was definitely one of my favorite JRPGs in like recent years. So there's definitely part of me that's been sitting here constantly was like, man, I just want to go play that demo, and then like it'll give like, and then I can go play a demo and check it out, and then I'll be able to play a little bit of that Octopath 2 when it comes out proper. But then at best I maybe get like 5 to 10 hours into it and then have to drop it, and then like I don't want to come back to it like 2 months later being like, what was I doing? What? And then, so
who's this guy?
Yeah, so I'd rather just like give it the time it deserves. So like I probably will be a late spring play for me. But yeah, it still looks awesome, and I'm happy they're continuing the we're going to put demos out for this and let you do your thing. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Do you have anything else besides the last the big boy here we can get into?
Yeah, beside the big boy, and we're going to talk about the Sea of Stars demo, so I won't.
Oh yes, right.
Burn a thing on there. That's great. Very looking forward to it. Gonna go off book here. My last spicy thing here was the fucking Super Mario Brothers movie trailer from the Super Bowl, motherfuckers.
Yeah, that was pretty good. Yeah, we should mention that.
Good. It was so good. They recreated the theme song from the original Super Mario Brothers Super Show. They even brought in like the voice actress who played Peach in that show, or the actor who does the lady at the end of the commercial.
Yep. Yeah. I loved it. Yeah, it's really good. Like that, the number in the actual little promo and also on the website actually works. So you can like call it. You'll get like some kind of voice line from like Luigi or who is it? Charlie Day doing like Luigi like talk to you, and you can also like text message it and it'll give you like messages and stuff. It's a very well done little bit there, and
and the website plays like the GameCube logo drop from when you boot the console, plays the audio of that in a remix form, which is just the love that is going into this project makes me hopeful in a big way. I'm really looking forward to it, and they put out like a billion like movie posters. I don't know if you've seen too many some of the posters online. Like some of those posters are like amazing, like looking. Like I remember there's like one that's like Princess Peach driving down Rainbow Road and it looks really cool. There's one where it's like Bowser and Kamek like standing up above like a big army of people, and it looks really good. They got the right people to make this movie, I think, Alex. So makes me so happy. At least like clearly they're all huge Mario fans, and they're having the time of their life making this movie. Yeah, and that's good. Yeah,
and it's still very entertaining to always hear these random Chris Pratt interview like quotes where I think some people are like, it's gotten to the point where some people I think are making some of them up, but they're still hilarious because they're like still you can still
a lot of fake quotes out there.
You can still totally make like you still totally wouldn't be surprised if you just said that as well. And I think another thing that happens, we got a clip as well from the Mario movie where we actually heard a very short snippet of Seth Rogen as Donkey Kong.
Oh, I didn't see that.
And he it was not as horrifying as as it ended up thinking it would be. To partially like a relief, but also kind of disappointed at the same time.
Yeah, exactly. It's always too layered.
Yeah, it's like, dang, I was hoping you just get a little bit of the.
Was right. It's like, oh no, he's just laughing again.
Yeah, just a little bit of that laugh would have been very very.
You'll get it. It'll be like right at the end.
Yeah, maybe at the end. Yeah, we'll have to see. But yeah, I think those were like the hot things that we're talking. Oh, I guess we should shout out Advance Wars 1 and 2 Reboot Camp. is going to be out in April, so it is alive. Well, I think they did say that, like, I think when they originally announced it, there was supposed to be like custom like maps and like some online functions were coming post launch, but I think they just said in this trailer like it's gonna be there because like it's now been a year plus since this game was, I think, supposed to be out.
Fully finished, yeah.
So fully finished. So like that's a good win for like people who have been kind of waiting for that.
Did not show any gameplay. Very cleverly worked around showing any tanks or anything.
Yeah, it was definitely a pretty quick and easy. Just like, yep, here it is. Good stuff.
2 months. See ya. Bye.
2 months. But yeah, I think those were all the things worth shouting out. There's definitely plenty of other announcements that happened. I will say, admittedly, like you said, kind of at the top, like overall, this direct, was for some people, not for some people. I definitely had the vibe of like, for me, it was like, a solid 20 to 25 minutes of just like stuff I like was glazing my eyes over about. And then like the last like 10 minutes were just like, oh my God, what the hell is happening? Like,
yeah, it got really unhinged at some point.
Just like popped off like announcement after announcement. They like left all the heavy hitting stuff like right like for the last 10 minutes of this thing. And they closed it out on a more proper trailer for Tears of the Kingdom. This was definitely the like, here's a hype trailer and now go pre-order this game, because they ended it like with pre-orders, and of course,
we're gonna talk about the $70 thing. We'll talk about
yes, and obviously the thing that came out of it was that Tears of the Kingdom will be a $70 video game. So yeah, we'll talk about that. But yeah, an incredible trailer. I've pre-ordered my special edition 100. I think it's like $130 edition. So I don't give a fuck about a $70 edition because I bought that thing anyway. But yeah, I know you have pieced together some shots in the trailer and things to take away. So I will let you have it. I want to hear what you've discovered.
Yeah. A lot of cool stuff. Shout out, obviously, to the amazing Zelda community that's out there. Always shout out Zeltic, always killing it.
Yeah.
He had a great, I think it's like a 38-minute breakdown on this trailer.
Awesome.
That's great. And he's, he's a great dude, and he knows the lore better than like anybody. But also Bandit Games and just a ton of great Zelda videos out there. So I'll take you through the big ones because there's plenty. We get some nuts and bolts ass vehicles in this.
Yeah, I definitely saw a lot of edits of like Legend of Zelda nuts and bolts, like with like Tears of the Kingdom art and stuff coming out of this, because you pretty prominently see like Link like pulling parts out of like pull out of a lake, and like it looks like he's pulling like a big car tire out of the lake, and then all of a sudden he's driving like a weird car, but then he also has like a weird like hovercraft like later.
And a hot air balloon.
Yeah, some crazy looking stuff, if that's like how it's going to go down.
So I'll direct. I don't know if you have it set up where you can show the trailer, but I'll direct to a couple of frames. At the 27-minute mark, we see these bokoblins mining in this really weird area. People have believed that this is a huge underground cavern. And we can see some spirits to the right. There's malice on the ground, which we find Ganondorf or whoever it may be underground. There's like a weird tingy echo from the bokoblin mining. The enemies look all malicey. So yeah, I'm definitely fully convinced that there are huge underground areas of this game that we have not seen, and this is like the only legitimate tease. We get a couple other shots in this trailer. This is the only legitimate tease we've gotten of it.
Right.
Big one at the 30-second mark, we get this great shot at nighttime of the Great Bridge of Hylia over Lake Hylia, and on the bridge there's just a fucking 3-headed dragon.
Yeah. It's like that's like straight up a boss from like one of the old Zelda games, right?
Yeah,
like it's straight
people
up
think it's Gleeok, which is one of the OG Zelda 1 enemies that's also remade in Oracle of Seasons, which obviously has that same whole dungeon remade in it. And there's a couple versions of Gleeok. You fight him with 1 head, and then you fight him with 3 heads, and then 5 heads. This is a 3-headed dragon. The heads looks like skeletal and on fire. Very cool.
Yeah.
Regardless, like I just want to fight that guy.
Yeah, that'd be a cool fight, especially in that place, but in particular, like that's just yeah, looked cool.
Also, potentially, there's a lot more dragons just out there. This could just be like a world boss, like a Hinox.
Yeah, it could just be like a Hinox. Yeah, that's really rad.
We see a lot of shots, and you can see one at the 33-second mark of when we're looking at Hateno Village, of those like green swirls. People, I think, have come to the conclusion that they are more than likely fast travel points of some kind, either to jump around the map or to go up and down from the sky to the ground, or potentially even go underground because they are kind of swirling downward. And they also appear to be at locations where shrines used to be, which is very interesting. Get some of that Ganondorf VO. Obviously, Ganon having a voice for the first time, big deal.
Yeah.
Seems to be Matt Mercer. I've listened to a lot of hours of Critical Role, and I can tell you with confidence that is probably Matt Mercer.
Yeah, right.
Which is cool because he played Ganondorf in like a live action fan film for Smash Brothers one time.
Nice.
So it's kind of like I don't necessarily know if that went into it, right? Like Matt Mercer, I think he works for one of the same like PR companies for voice actors that had a lot of the voice actors that were in Breath of the Wild. So I think it's just like, they were going down the list. They found a good villain. He's got a good villain voice.
Yeah. Good pick.
In the 56-second mark, when we're seeing a bunch of enemies spawn in on the Great Plateau, looks like we see a Redead coming back.
I definitely saw some screenshots of that online as well, where like it showed like a lineup of enemies, kind of, and you can kind of see him like he's kind of like in the back, like lurching back up, like
he's got the vertical mouth, kind of skeletal, but also the kind of like mummified brown skin. We also see a couple of times throughout the trailer, but in that shot as well, a boss bokoblin, which the Japanese Zelda Twitter account tweeted out some concept art of, just like a big leader bokoblin.
He's like blowing a horn to like get the other ones to like start fighting or something. It was cool.
Or to buff them potentially, which is really cool.
Just a lot more enemy variety, which is really cool to see, for sure.
And we see some more wild stuff in that regard, like the big cube monster.
Some kind of boss or something. Yeah,
somewhere in the sky. So I have a theory that not a lot of people have been talking about. So I want to put it in people's brains. At around the 127, 126 mark, we see Link shoot a new arrow type. And it also like homes in on this new flying lizardy enemy. People are thinking like, oh, they're homing arrows, but I don't think that's it. We see that in this shot, the arrow has like, it looks like, if I had to guess, like an Octorok, one of those Octorok sacks on it, which maybe makes it an explosive arrow, potentially a crafted arrow. But we also see Link's new hand glowing green, and there's a shot of green in this shot. So I think Link is using a more dangerous arrow, and his hand is giving it the power to seek in on an enemy that he's targeted. So I think maybe one of the abilities is going to be the hand allowing you to shoot homing arrows, which sounds really cool. I don't necessarily know what the limitations on that could be, but Link's hand does not glow unless he is using one of the hand's abilities. So that makes me think,
right?
Maybe homing arrow hand.
Augmenting those arrows.
See some rail grinding, which is pretty sick. On the volcano.
Suck it, Sonic.
Sonic.
Link can grind now too.
But also in the very end of that shot to the right, you can see the fan blade propellers that Link will then use to craft the floating vehicle that he uses later in the trailer.
Nice.
So potentially looking around for resources for things like that. And then there's the big one, which is around the 131 mark, 132, where we see a glowing goddess-like being that looks very similar to Zelda, reaching her hand out in a dress we've never seen before, that has the little tear symbols that we saw on the mural in the previous symbol on it. And they are reaching out to what seems to be Link, or potentially the original owner of this clawed hand that Link gains access to. And this is mixed with the Zelda VO that we hear later of like, I don't know if you can beat him, lend him your strength. I think that this is the goddess Hylia. And I think Zelda is dead, which is a bummer. But and shout out to Barrett Courtney over at Kind of Funny, another great breakdown of the trailer that they did. he brings up the point, like this whole thing about the Tears of the Kingdom trailer being pulled from the UK Direct after the Queen died, like didn't really make any sense. Tears of the Kingdom, whatever. But I think if you are on the other side of that and you know that the inciting incident of this game is the princess to be queen dying, that makes a lot of sense to me. And it's like way too specific.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Oh, wow.
I don't necessarily mean like Zelda is going to be dead the whole game. Maybe the game is partially about resurrecting her or whatever, or her being reincarnated as Hylia, and the cycle, like potentially a lot about the Zelda cycle and all this in there. And maybe it'll be like Spirit Tracks, where she's a ghost that hangs out with you the whole time. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe she's like her power is the hand, and the power in your hand or something. Yeah.
Maybe she's like your Fi or your Navi that's like your companion. She lives in your hand. Who knows? I don't know. That'd be kind of weird, but kind of cool. Also.
Or like you're collecting all of these things to like resurrect her because she's like the one that can like stop all of this malice coming. Like you need her, because like something I saw as well online, which I don't know if you were to get to it or not. With like, or if it was talked about any of the videos you saw, and it's something I pointed out on Twitter. Her name was Rebecca. She does like another Nintendo podcast. I follow her. She had a really good theory that showed like the pointing out the hand that is become the clawed hand, and we see like in the very last shot of the trailer is like Link's like burned up, damaged hand reaching out to like save Zelda. That would be like every time we've seen that hand in previous things, like that is the hand where he shows where he puts his hand. You see the Triforce as. So I'm seeing. So she brought up the idea of like he like I guess maybe in that whole event where all that stuff is happening in the thing and Ganon is being reawakened is him taking Link's Triforce power away from him, and so like he loses his Triforce power. But in turn is trying to like save Zelda, and maybe like all of this stuff horribly fails, and then he is saved by like the goddess Helia, and she gives him this new power in place of that, so that they can return the Triforce powers back to where they need to be. And like maybe you're doing that to give you your Triforce power back, and maybe you're bringing maybe like Zelda's like maybe not dead, but maybe like in a coma or something, like and she had her Triforce power taken as well, or something like that. And maybe that's like the whole thing is like you are trying to restore the balance with the help of this goddess or something like that.
Yeah, Triforce not in Breath of the Wild really at all. It's obviously mentioned and visually referenced frequently, but it really has no play in that game. Same with Din, Nehru, and Furore, right? Ever since Skyward Sword, we haven't really talked about them. So yeah, there's definitely a lot of potential. But yeah, the last two things really to point out are that at 158 in the trailer, we see the malice erupting out of Ganon. We see a partially damaged Master Sword and a partially hurt Link. Then some interesting and probably pretty strategic cuts in this Princess Mononoke-ass shot that show Link straight up dropping the Master Sword to chase after Zelda, which I know my shippers out there were real hyped about that. I know that people were like, "Oh yeah, if this man is choosing this woman over, the Sword of Evil's Bane, that's some love right there." But also kind of indicates the severity of the situation. This is not going to go well out the gate. Very good way to set up Link losing all of his powers and abilities to then have to rebuild himself up throughout the whole game. Really curious, like why the Master Sword isn't able to stop Ganon in this instance. There's a lot of questions as to why is the Master Sword able to be broken by evil if it is the Blade of Evil's Bane. I don't know, but I am hoping that part of this game and story is going to be reforging the Master Sword, most certainly, and potentially turning it into a new sword, the Ultra Sword.
That'd be pretty cool. There definitely is that kind of like, I want to say like in one of those previous trailers we saw like Link pulling out a broken sword at something to look like it being restored to its power, or given power. We've seen the logo. The logo with like, it shows partially the sword broken, but then like the other part coming out of the part of the logo is like that green looking like iconography we've seen everywhere. So maybe we are kind of giving it like a new power.
Something's going on with the Master Sword. And obviously the heart of that blade, the story of it, the goddess sword that became the Master Sword that you forge in Skyward Sword, that has been through all these games. There's going to be some big story with it. And again, the thing I'll say, I love this trailer. The more I watched it, the more I loved it. The music's great. Ganondorf is great. The fear and tragedy that you get from this trailer is great. And also, I'm just gonna throw this out there to annoy people. Those vehicles that you make are probably gonna break as well, and they're gonna wear out for sure and break. You're gonna have to rebuild them.
Tires gonna pop off, and then you just skid off somewhere. And you're just like, oh,
exactly.
Shit.
It's going to happen. So just temper yourselves now, you weird weapon break haters.
But it's still here. Your Master Sword. I want
broke the Master Sword.
They literally broke the Master Sword for like the major plot point of this game. But I also want this is what I want, because I'm with you on like I want this game to just be like telling like, hey, you motherfuckers, fuck you.
We're leaning in.
We're leaning in. I want us to be able to reforge the Master Sword, but it still breaks.
Yeah, it still breaks. So
like, wow, it's this new powerful sword, and it has like the crazy godly powers if it is like Hylia giving you this, but also it needs to recharge because it's using this new power or whatever. I'd be like, yes, great. I love this fucking video game.
I do think that they will probably make the Master Sword unbreakable by the end of this game, but you're gonna have to work for that. I'll let you listening know, thinking that you're just gonna be able to get it.
Are you gonna have to buy the Tears of the Kingdom expansion pass DLC?
And then go through 60 more trials to get it there. But yeah, I the sentiment, and I've had this sentiment before, we've talked about it on the show before. There is clearly a lot they're not talking about with this game. Even this trailer, which shows so much. We got vehicles, we got flying, we got this, we got that, we got underground. Like, finally, some level of underground we know is for sure going to be in this game. But even still, I feel like I know nothing about this game.
No, nothing.
And I love that. I'm here for it. I'm not going to watch anything else. If they announce Nintendo Direct on this, I ain't going to watch it. I don't need it. This trailer was more than enough of a great tease of stuff. And I just think there are secrets in this game that we're not going to know until we hold it. And keep that in mind as we move from this into our discussion about it being $70 United States dollars.
$70 United States dollars for Tears of the Kingdom. I mean, like, look, man, like, I am not surprised by this, to say the least.
Yeah, me either.
Because it's like, if this were the game Nintendo is looking at, like, other Jeff Grubb, I think, put it very well, I think, on their Nintendo podcast. So I'll just echo the words of him. Somebody at Nintendo saw Sony PlayStation Star, what is that? The All Stars Destroy All Stars racing game that was a PS5 launch game was a $70 video game. And there's probably some Nintendo going like, they put that game at fucking $70, and we're gonna put Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom at $60. No. There's absolutely a conversation that happened at Nintendo, like something like that. Like, they saw some other game that was like priced at that premium $70 quote unquote, and they're going like, they're charging $70 for that. Yeah, we can charge $70 for Tears of the fucking Kingdom. Like the follow up to like one of the like most critically acclaimed video games,
the best-selling
of all time.
Zelda game,
Like, yeah, they're gonna fucking put that at $70 because we see that we can say that, like, I don't think every Nintendo game going forward, are all like the kind of, I guess, bigger echelons of Nintendo are gonna be $70, right? They aren't putting like,
Pikmin is $60.
Pikmin 4 is $60. Like, I feel like they can get away with this with like Zelda and maybe like a Mario game.
I can tell you the three games that they're going to do this for: Zelda, the mainline Mario games, and Mario Kart. That's it.
Yeah, for sure.
And that's all they need to
maybe
rake in the money.
Yeah. And eventually, when there's maybe a new Super Smash Brothers, that would
Smash.
Those would be the ones,
and potentially Animal Crossing.
Sure.
Which of course are all the best selling games.
Yep.
Well, Pokemon might end up being $70, but
Game Freak is its own wild horse, and they can just do whatever the fuck they want. Really,
they make that decision ultimately. So Pokemon Scarlet and Violet were $70. I think we'd have an interesting conversation to talk about here.
Yeah, for sure. But this doesn't surprise me at all. And like I said, like out the gate on this, like I bought the $140, $130 collector's edition of this game. So maybe I'm a little biased because I would be willing to spend that kind of money on a new Zelda product. But hey,
The thing
I
is,
think
this one
like
is
you shouldn't be surprised by $70 video games anymore. It's just the thing. It just is what it is now, regardless of it being a Nintendo Switch game or a PlayStation 5 game or a
yeah.
game on Steam on PC. Like even though they're on a PS5 or Xbox Series X, they still like if they're all across those, those are $70 on Steam also. Like
Yeah.
$70 is just a normal thing now for a video game.
I think, you know, to rant a little bit here, like I've always hated this arbitration of game time, equal value, game whatever, like finding your own arbitrary reason to put a price point on a game, whether it's like it's 60 hours, it's worth $60 or whatever. All that's always been stupid. It always will be stupid. And I'm sorry if that is like your hill that you need to die on, but it is dumb. Like I played Journey back in 2010, and that's a like 3 hour game, and it was $15 at the time, and people were outraged, but it was great. And it's always going to be a subjective thing of what you put your value in. I will tell you, Sony did not charge you $70 for Horizon Forbidden West or God of War Ragnarok because they run in 4K, right? That is not why they charged you $70. That is like our perception outside of the business meetings, looking at these things of like, oh, well, their PS5 games are 4K, so they must be $70 now. No, that's stupid. All of this is stupid. It is just capitalism. It's just like, all right, you know, these games are expensive, and these are what we consider our prestige games, and they're going to be $70. And like plenty of people played Returnal, a game that I love and I think is definitely worth $70. It was clearly expensive to make and thought it was not worth $70. That's just, people are always going to feel like that, and that's fine. Yeah. You can feel like that, but I think trying to arbitrate it to of like, well, this is going to be a 30 FPS, maybe 22 FPS open world game that it's like all these things are arbitrary, and you got to just divorce yourself from like, this is just a business decision to make this $70, and inflation and how expensive this game has been to make. Clearly it's been in development for 6 years. It is the longest development Zelda game ever, and absolutely going to be the biggest, most immense. Like this game, if it has any of what we're talking about on this like underground and the sky rule and all of the map of Breath of the Wild again, it's like
with all kinds of with all kinds of like, clearly what we saw, like I definitely saw some people like giving that like, oh, it's just, is it the same map again? It's like, no, it's not. Like you said, like you can see like these massive underground areas. They showed on multiple trailers these huge sky islands with like completely different things going on that we've never seen before. There's all kinds of enemies we've never seen before that are like probably going to be all over the map just doing stuff, and it's like, you know, we haven't even seen like all of, like we haven't seen every environment. Like we've gotten teases that like, you know, the Gerudo deserts could just be this insane sandstorm or something like that, like in some of like the promo art,
the huge storm over Heber Mountain where the Rito are, this typhoon that's just always there or something. And
there's like, you know, the volcano of the Mount Gerudo is just like freaking erupting or whatever, you know, and it's just, you can see all the malice coming out of the top of the volcano. Like we haven't seen like what any of that means. So like there's still like you said, there's just so much stuff that we have not seen for this game still. And like I will say I respect your diligence to try and avoid things from here on, but I'll say, like, as soon as I see Tears of the Kingdom Direct in April, I'm gonna be like, all right, here I come. I'm fucking locked in my seat. I need to see all this. I need to.
That's
see
fine.
It.
That's
you know
fine.
What I mean?
I'm at that point where it's like, I know I'm gonna love it, so it's just like I want to be surprised.
Yeah, for sure. I'm just excited to see more. But yeah, I'm with you. That was awesome trailer. Left
emotional, man.
Emotional, left more questions. Like, I think they were definitely trying to go for that. You know, I remember when we had that like Switch reveal in like January, February, or like not like, I don't think it was the reveal, but it was like a little bit after that, where they had like a big
it was the reveal
big stage presentation, and like they showed that original Breath of the Wild trailer. That was like
the release date
probably
trailer.
One of the greatest video game trailers ever. Like, you know,
still is also
still is. I would say like this trailer like didn't reach that high, but to be fair, like again, we just totally said it's like one of the greatest trailers of all time. Like, you know,
it evoked that though.
Yes, it was definitely going for that, and like I would say like overall, like it was still an amazing trailer. And like you said, I like now I want to go, see some more in-depth breakdowns of some discussions from some of those people.
Watch the Zeltic video, watch the Bandit Games video. They're very
Yeah.
good. Those folks are always doing good work with Zelda trailers.
Yeah.
Yeah. And here's the thing: if you don't want to pay $70 for this, you don't have to, because you can go buy a couple of Nintendo vouchers and pay all in all $50. For it.
I was gonna say pay Nintendo $100 so you can get this game and whatever else whatever. It'll be fine at the end of the day. You'll be fine. You'll live paying.
Yeah, or just don't play it. It's fine. You don't have to. Let us enjoy this, and you go in your hateful corner or whatever.
Yeah, do whatever you want to do with that. But yeah, that was the February Nintendo Direct. Overall, yeah, it was a solid Direct. Again, that was my feeling on it. I already said, like, it's just, it was like kind of 20-25 minutes of just like, okay, eyes glazing.
As soon as they announced those Game Boy stuff,
and then it was like Game Boy, and you're like, okay, and then they just boom, Metroid Prime Remastered, boom, Mario Kart DLC, boom, all this other
Fantasy
stuff,
Life
Fantasy Life 2. They announced like a new Professor Layton game. They teased it,
yeah,
and like boom, you're just like, what the hell is happening right now? Let's pop it off, and then we got the Tears of the Kingdom trailer to close it off. Yeah. Awesome Direct. Overall, a good way to start off the year and show that, like, hey, I know people want a new Switch, or kind of hungry for that successor now, but it seems like that's still, sorry y'all, that's still maybe a year or more off.
I mean, I think next year is still like very, very strong possibility, but and we know nothing past July. Right, like we truly know nothing past July, which sets them up to do something in the summer, which they didn't do last year.
They did.
Which would be good.
Yeah, I think it'd be good. I think like a lot of the other ones, they will just do their own thing, which will still probably be a Direct. But we've clearly heard that like they are not with E3. Maybe they'll be with Keighley. Who knows? But like I think ultimately they will just, whatever they do, it'll still probably just be a Direct. In my eyes,
but they've got
they'll have some fun stuff there, I'm sure.
I don't know what's going on in March, but they've got the Mario movies coming out in April, and then Breath of the Wild sequels finally coming out in May, and then whatever's going to happen in June, we'll figure out what's going on then, and then Pikmin in July. So they, as far as like Nintendo as a company, they've got a strong few months of press going forward. So
because like I was trying to think of like the only other thing we know is towards the end of this year is the Mario Kart DLC, right? Like I think like unless that Splatoon expansion ends up being later,
which it could be,
which it could be. But like that's all we kind of know is like
that's all we know.
That's like not really, and that's just like DLC. So we don't even know major games and stuff.
And the Xenoblade DLC, all the things we know are just really DLC. Yeah. I'm still on the bandwagon. There's got to be some kind of Mario game. Year,
Mario. Oh yeah, definitely been the vibe that there's maybe some kind of Mario thing coming with maybe the Mario, the ride the coattails of the success of the Mario movie, probably. For sure. Okay, so let's move on now from Direct Talk, because we still got some games we've been playing.
Hell yes.
Yeah, because as we said, a bunch of the Game Boy games came out. Metroid Prime Remastered is out and playable. There's a bunch of games coming out that we've been playing. I have like some smaller shout out stuff. I think you have definitely played a lot more.
Weirdly, yeah. This is my month.
Switch games. Yeah, I know. I've been playing a lot of games, but they've not been like Switch games. Like we said, like I've been playing like Dead Space and like some other stuff. But Metroid Prime was definitely one I came back for. But before we get into like our deep dive into that, I'll shout out the two quick things I have, which again I already talked about a little bit, was Mario Kart Tour. I played a little bit of that and played that new track. It was pretty fun. Piranha Plant Cove.
I've never thought about this, and I probably should have beforehand. Can you play Mario Kart Tour, because it's mobile, right?
Yeah.
Can you play it with a controller?
I think there's ways to do it, but it does not have like basic controller support. From what I think, because it's like it's very touch screen focused. But I think there's like workarounds where like if you get those controllers that you can like map like touch screen things to, you could probably make it work. I know you can play it on. I think you can play it on like iPad kind of stuff like that as well. So I'd imagine if you can do it on that, you could probably. I figured there's got to be a way to get a controller going with that. Yeah, that track's fun. I'm excited again. Still always excited for Mario Kart stuff and that DLC, and I'm excited for that track to come. The other quick shout I have is I've talked about in previous episodes was Overwatch 2 started its new season, and I jumped into that Overwatch 2 season 3. I can believe it's already season 3 of Overwatch 2.
Mhm.
This was the first season they didn't launch a new hero with, because like
Yeah.
the whole thing is they're going to do basically every other season where it'll be one season's a hero, one season's a new map, and then they'll kind of go in that order. So this is like, considering we had the launch of Overwatch 2 and then season 2 was technically the first like season with a hero. Now season 3 is the first one with a map, and then next season in spring we'll have another hero. Um, I will say, even though there wasn't any hero, the new map is pretty fun. It's an Antarctica map.
Ooh.
It's like a control map, so it's like one of those where like you fight for that control point for a round, and then whoever takes that, then you move to a different area, and then it'll be a different area of the map to fight for a control point. It's one of those kind of maps. Um, it has like some fun compared to like some of the other maps I feel like they brought with Overwatch 2. Like there was not like there's like some little fun details, but a lot of them also like I remember a lot from Overwatch 1. There were a lot of cool maps that like had a lot of cool environments, but also like told kind of a little bit of a story for the world of Overwatch, right? Like not much of these maps had that, where this was like one was like the first one that really felt like that, because like the whole conceit of it is like this frozen, it's like part of it's like a research station, which like May was at with like a research team, and she was stuck out there. She was like stuck out in Antarctica, and then there's also like a crashed like Overwatch ship in like this big like icy ruins, because there's like a
Ooh.
team that was like coming to like save them, but then like the ship crashed. But there's also like a big like tanker ship that's also there. It's all like kind of like melded into this big ice like block essentially. So it's a lot of cool very different varied environments compared to what I feel like a lot of other Overwatch maps have had, where like a lot of them are like you have like the Hollywood map, or like the Africa like map, that where like they're very like city streets you're like running down, where this one will be like part of it is just like this like big like ice cave, and you're like going through these like icy caves and stuff, rather than like it being like these like other areas. So it felt like a much more like actual like wilderness environment, so to speak, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that's
um
cool.
yeah, there's fun other details in there too. Like there's like one of like the spawn points you will start in has a bunch of penguins in it, and they're just like hanging out. And if you can shoot the penguins, you can't murder them. But if you do
Thank
shoot
God.
them, and you have it'll drain your super energy. So like if you shoot it, it'll take like 3 or 4 points off of like your supercharge if you shoot them and you have like energy charging, which I thought was like a fun
Got him.
touch. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, fun little map, for sure. Overwatch is still pretty fun for me. It's still kind of that thing where like I'll play a little bit here and there, but I'm still just kind of hold my breath for that PVE mode, whenever that'll come. Another thing I did like, because like I think like a lot of this felt like the season where like a lot of the like Overwatch 2 launched, and they took a bunch of community feedback because everyone started playing it, and this was like the first real season where it felt like they were starting to like they heard all the feedback, and now they're starting to try and have had the time to try and actually implement this stuff. Because the big thing they did was they brought back like essentially like earnable currency to buy skins in game.
Mm.
So you can't. So it's not just a scenario where like, hey, if you played a bunch of Overwatch 1 but didn't get a lot of the skins when Overwatch 2 launched, the only way to go get some of those older skins if you want them was you'd have to spend money on like the actual paid currency to get that. Where now, even if you don't buy the battle pass and you're just playing on like the free track of the current battle pass, you can earn currency just by playing matches through like leveling up that battle pass, and then use that currency to then like go buy skins, go buy different like emotes or other things like that. So like you can go back and start earning that stuff, which was very very cool to see. And then if you do buy the battle pass, you'll get even more of that currency on like the paid tiers of that battle pass. So I don't know the exact like rate, but I want to say they said like if you do like a full season, even on free track, you at least be able to buy like a couple of the legendary tier, like at least like one or maybe even one legendary skin, and maybe like some other like low, like purple and blue tier skins or other cosmetics alongside that. So that's pretty decent. Definitely something that the game needed was like, to give you the ability to get some of that stuff, that legacy stuff, just by freaking playing the game.
Yeah, and even in Overwatch 1, earning the coins, the currency was like
Right.
either a random drop in a loot crate, or if you got like a duplicate, you would get coins instead.
Yeah.
Which I guess they helped their duplicate protection later on. But so it's honestly even maybe a more streamlined way to earn that currency.
Yeah, because you're literally just doing what you were doing already. Is just like, each season has a battle pass, and you're leveling up the battle pass to get that stuff. I will say I probably will level up some of this battle pass, just because there are like a lot of the skins in this one in particular speaking to me more. There's a really good Cassidy skin that makes him the Invisible Man, and it's straight up just like a black, kind of like a black suit. And then he has like his hat on, but then his like face and head are just gone. It's invisible. He just has like little goggles and like a cigar, and he's just like, it's the Invisible Man. It's pretty good.
That's funny.
Yeah, that one's really good. The mythic skin, like, which is like the level 80, like the final skin on it is for Kiriko, the new character, and they made her like the whole theme of this season, because they've been doing like themes each season. Like last one's was like Greek gods. This one is like more like I think like Japanese or Chinese like deities and gods and stuff this time around. So she's like Amaterasu, and it straight up makes like her have these cool effects. Like she has like this little crown on, and like when she like powers up, you can see it like in the main menu and like see it on like different variants of that skin. It like lights up and like transforms on her head in real time. It looks really cool. And it also makes her like her ultimate ability, where she makes like the big shrine like towers and little fox that runs across. It changes like the visual looks of that, where it makes them like more like Japanese kind of shrine, like big archways, and like you'll see like the fox is like a little bit more like a different like styled fox,
kitsune kind of style.
Yeah, it looks really cool. So yeah, I might actually grind out that skin. One other thing I will point out also that was announced with this is they're also doing their first like collab. I don't know if you saw this, but
I didn't.
They're collaborating with One Punch Man. So there's going to be, the only skin they've shown so far is a Doomfist skin where he straight up just has like just the One Punch Man like yellow outfit, and he has like a big red fist. And he's straight up just, he has like voice lines, like he just says, "One punch is all I need," and he just does like a big, just a big exploding punch, and like, and apparently according to that, there will be more than just that skin for him, and this will be like some kind of like event during the season where like it'll be like a week or two where you can like do certain things and actually earn some of these skins that are like these One Punch Man crossovers. So it won't just be like, hey, here's a bunch of skins you can buy. I'm sure there'll be a few you have to buy, but there will also be actual earnable ones as well, because it's like a whole event going on. So that was pretty cool. They said this was the first one they were going to do, so it seems like there will be future collaborations with Overwatch skins and other properties coming to the game. So that was cool. Yeah, Overwatch still pretty fun. I say just always the Kalams as a solo player, just jumping in and just kind of accepting my fate of like, there's never going to be any kind of coordination with these random people that I'm jumping into quick play with, and a lot of people just don't care anyway, because they're just like probably doing what I'm doing and just checking the daily box or the weekly boxes to like level up the battle pass. So whatever, that's fine. But I still have a little bit of fun with it now and again.
Yeah.
But that's mostly it for me in terms of game stuff I've been playing besides Metroid Prime. But you have a lot of stuff you've been playing as well, so why don't you go ahead and talk about some stuff you've been playing?
Yeah, my very good friend Brant Range came to visit in January. We hung out for a bit, and we had originally talked about not knowing that it wouldn't be online co-op, playing Bowser's Fury together. And now we were in person together for real. So I finally played Bowser's Fury local co-op, which was very fun.
Nice.
Cool seeing what Bowser's Fury was and kind of like what people were excited about with it. Definitely really liked it. Liked the little bank menu of power-ups that you have.
Yeah.
Just reiterating how much I love Super Mario 3D World.
Yep.
And boy, would I love a Switch port of Super Mario 3D Land. I know that 3D is a big part of that game, but
it's fine. It's fine. Just
yeah,
do it anyway. Just do it anyway.
Do it anyway. But yeah, that was fun. We also ended up playing we played through all of Super Mario Bros. 3, and then we played a good amount of Super Mario World as well, just hanging out and playing some Mario. Because Brance is very good at Mario games, and I remembered that I'm very not. So, or at least it's just been a while, so I had to clear off a lot of rust. Still playing Pokemon Scarlet. Still, every time they add a Terra raid with a new Pokemon, I'm in there day one making a build of a Pokemon, which is something I never thought I'd say to anyone. I'm like getting it's like, all right, I gotta retrain Slowbro over here and do some EV training, I guess. And it's like, all right, this is who I am now. I don't even recognize
yeah, I was gonna say, what have I become? Yeah.
But yeah, it was Greninja, which was another kind of
nice, cool,
more challenge oriented. Like he does 2 stat wipes where he clears all your buffs, but he does them right away, and that makes it kind of easier. So it ended up being a little bit easier than Cinderace, which was the last one. And yeah, just hatched him into a Froakie and leveled him up just to get him, get all the non-existent Pokedex entries counted for in my brain, and grinded it out a little bit to get some extra EXP candies and stuff, and then called it a day. Loved it. Just a really cool relationship I've developed with Pokemon in my later years.
Nice, yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, it's cool. I if you had asked me this time last year if I would be this into a Pokemon game ever in my life, I'd have said no very, very definitively. So here we are. I played through all of the Minish Cap also. We don't necessarily have to talk about it, but that game's great.
Yeah, good video game.
Yeah, good video game. Great, it's very different than the other Capcom Zelda games, which will eventually be coming to the Game Boy stuff. Oracle of Ages and Seasons, which are phenomenal. 2 of my favorites, to be honest.
Yeah.
And Minish Cap is very different. Very obviously, the art style is inspired by Wind Waker a lot. Bring a lot of the enemies from that while also creating some new ones. Just fun, shrinking down and walking through Hyrule Castletown, which is so good in this game in particular because it's bustling. There's people to talk to and there's side quests to do. The Din, Nehru, and Furore are there, and you can help them move into houses and stuff, which is a nice little reference to Oracle of Ages and Seasons. And you're walking as this little 2-pixel dot when you shrink down, going in and out of houses and stuff. Super good, super fun, great writing, and some just great level design in that game that I really appreciated this time through. And then just the big things left. So been playing Fire Emblem Engage. We did viewpoints on this.
Yeah.
I've only played a little bit past that, but so far just really loving it. It is in a lot of ways Fire Emblem Awakening spiritual successor of that style of game. They brought the weapon triangle back. They brought the world map back. They still have the hub area kind of thing from Fire Emblem 3 Houses where you can walk around and talk to everybody. They've taken out marriage, which I am still undecided on how I feel about it. We'll see once we get to the end of the game. But I think they've just done a lot of great stuff. It's very wholesome. It's much more on the innocent positive vibes anime end of things where everyone is you're very obviously the good guys, the bad guys are very obviously the bad guys. There's no weird gray area conversations like 3 Houses had, which were good. So you might be missing that here, but I've said before, I didn't really love 3 Houses. I didn't like how any character could be any class. I thought that kind of takes away from this is my big knight guy and this is my sword fighter guy.
Right.
And I like having those classes or at least those characters kind of have a personality built up that makes an accompaniment to their class. And then you see them level up to what they can be as opposed to you deciding what they should be.
What they should be. Yeah. For sure.
And the teaching stuff was cool. All of that is just completely gone out of this game. I know I've seen a lot of mixed thoughts on this game just for people that really liked 3 Houses. So just keep that in mind if you're still on the fence. But if you like traditional Fire Emblem, especially if you like Awakening or Fates or things like that, I think this will really appeal to you.
Nice. Cool.
But you're not here for the story, all right? You're here for the fun
Yeah,
anime
you're here
people.
for the anime gang, your gang of anime tactics, sword
Yeah.
guys and ladies.
Yeah, you're like make do family of folks
Right.
that come together to stop the bad guys. That's what it's all about, and it's fun, and it knows what it is, and it doesn't try and pretend to be anything else. So I really enjoy Engage so far, and I like the Engage, like the anime girl transformations. Like, oh, you can become Sailor Moon all of a sudden and
Yeah.
fuse with this soul of Marth from a
Yeah.
different dimension.
It's definitely interesting that viewpoints of seeing them like getting these like crazy over the top anime girl forms, super like Sentai almost like
With like glowy things floating behind them.
crazy armor, and like they're like flying, like boosting around, like they're like almost in mech suits too. So, yeah,
And don't forget
interesting.
Don't forget to polish your rings.
Polish the rings.
It's not horny at all. Don't ask questions.
Keep them happy.
Watch that Viewpoints because it's very good.
At least we watched the last few minutes of that for the whole event.
Yeah. So the Sea of Stars put out a demo. This is the next game from Sabotage, who made The Messenger. It's their second game. Big fan of The Messenger. Big fan of Sabotage. Like having actually gotten to meet and get to know some of those folks there, and really like their vibe and their games and their writing. So this has been the top of my list. It's actually it's like the number one pick on my fantasy draft league for my fantasy critic for folks out there doing that.
Nice.
Because I do think this is going to come out and it's going to be like a 9s and 10s situation.
Yeah, it's going to be really, really solid.
They put out a demo. Shadow dropped it during that direct. I've played through the demo. It's pretty short-ish. I think it's like 45 minutes. It is not like the Octopath demo, right? Or Square Enix's recent demos. It is like a very vertical slice. There's a couple of time jumps where it'll move you a little bit more forward to get to a thing to experience some different mechanics. So
nice.
It is not indicative of the game really, but all you gotta know, music's great. Art style's great. There's a world map that you walk around like Chrono Trigger because this game is very, very, very inspired by Chrono Trigger.
Very Chrono Trigger, yeah.
Really interesting battle mechanics too. So you've got I would compare it more to like Super Mario RPG or Mario and Luigi, especially style action commands with attacks. So your basic attack, you can get a second hit off if you time it right. And then a majority of the special moves that aren't healing moves is some kind of mini game to prolong the attack and do more damage. Like one is very similar to like the turtle shell special move from Superstar Saga, which you can play right now.
Awesome.
Where like they kick the turtle shell back and forth between Mario and Luigi, and it keeps hitting enemies. There's a mechanic very similar to that in this demo that one of the characters can do. Also love it. Great stuff. Thank you. Make games like this. It's not that hard, please. I think it's probably very hard actually. But I love it. And you get to do a dungeon that's pretty cool where you're like mixing different colored crystals to open different colored portals that will lead to different parts of this. There are other mechanics that are really cool. Like, so there are combo moves like Chrono Trigger, where two characters will do a move together, but you have to build up a separate meter for that. Which you can build it up faster by doing better timing on some of your other things, or better guards because there's guard timing as well. And then the combo moves use either 1 point, 2 point, or 3 points of your meter. So you kind of have to let it build before you can use some of those stronger moves. I hope that builds faster later when you have more stuff to do, just because it felt like I didn't get to use those a lot because it resets at the end of every fight. But there's also this thing where if you do timing attacks on enemies, they'll like explode out like little gems, and then you can hold a button and absorb a portion of those gems to power up your next move, which is really cool.
Yeah, that's interesting.
And it'll help build combo meter faster. So there is this kind of like dynamic aspect of getting hits, which will give you your SP back, which will let you do your special moves, which will then you can power up and get your combo meter and then do your combo moves. So there's definitely like this kind of gameplay loop of just turn-based combat that is really, really unique and I think super cool. And I know when other characters and party members come into the play and other moves and combo abilities unlock, it's just going to get even crazier. And also there's no revives, right? When somebody goes down, they're just stunned for a couple rounds and then they'll get themselves back up.
Nice.
Which I thought was cool. Definitely like gets tense too. Like there's one boss fight that's pretty tough. And you know, like it has an attack that does a lot of damage and 2 people go down. And it's like, all right, I can't revive them. So I just have to heal my one character, keep them up until they get up on their own. So it kind of adds a different level of strategy and tension into the fighting that I really liked. You know, it was both really old school and traditional and classic, while also having like really refreshing ideas and mechanics in there that all of them worked for me. you know?
Sounds
so
cool.
It's a great little demo. It's not like going to give you a big idea of what's going on in the story or anything. So if that's what you're looking for this game, I don't think it's going to feed you that. But if you want to get a little taste of what this game is going to feel like to play, I do recommend it. It's very different than other stuff that you're playing out there right now. So
Cool.
very good.
Sea of Stars.
Sea of Stars.
That is out in August as well. That was in the direct.
Yeah. Great time frame to release. Nice summer game. I think Messenger also came out in August. I can't wait to play.
Yeah. Looks awesome.
The only other thing, Metroid Prime Remastered.
Metroid Prime Remastered. We've both been playing a bunch of this. I think I saw you finished it. You were
finished it last night.
Finished last night. Nice. I am like almost done. I am like in the cleanup of the artifacts at the very end. So I think I only need like 2 or 3. I think I need like 2 or 3 more, and then I can go finish the game essentially.
Beat Ridley's butt.
Kick his butt. And yeah, you said it, man. Holy crap! This still a phenomenal video game. Really great updates that the game needed. The one thing I will say, I wished was there. I wouldn't have mind if they added it in. Would be like an autosave kind of thing.
Yeah, no autosave. Yeah,
there is no autosave. It is still pretty traditional in that, like, you go to save points, you save there, and if you, let's say, go through a whole section and forget where another save room is and get the power bomb, and then have realized you've gotten so far and slowly petered out your health bar and then lose it all, and then have to do that entire phase on mine section again. Was unfortunate, but hey,
that exact thing has happened to me before. So
that literally happened to me already.
Yep.
So it's it is what it is. It's not to say it's a ruined the experience by any means, but it is it faithfully makes that classic 2000s video game, GameCube era video game that Metroid Prime is. It still has a lot of that is there.
Funnily enough, the only Metroid game, because there's so few of them with autosave, because I don't think Other M has it either, is Metroid Dread.
Yeah, it's Dread. Yeah, yep, exactly. But yeah, it's Other than that minor thing though, like this game, I'm so happy how much it continues to hold up and is still like probably one of my all-time favorite video games in some regards. I love so much about it. The whole aesthetic of it still holds up. The music is still absolutely one of the best.
So good.
One of the best music, like, video game soundtracks there's probably ever been.
Yeah,
like
agreed.
There's just so many like good little moments, like first getting to freaking the snow area for the first time is still like an iconic video game moment for me, and just walking in there and hearing the music.
Yeah,
It being very somber, and then you like kind of walk around the area a little bit more, and it's like kind of quiet, and then you get like deeper into the parts, and it's like, holy crap, you're in this like crazy Metroid facility that was like sunken in this snow ruins, and there's space pirates everywhere. And then you come out of it, and you get that like quick out of nowhere shot of just like it just shows the ground, you just see Ridley's shadow going over the ground. It's just like man, fucking yes, good video game. Yes! It's like it's all those moments came back. And
it's like yes. If Metroid Prime 4 is 50% as good as this video game, it's gonna be really good.
Yeah, it's gonna be an amazing video game.
Yeah, like
for sure.
Thinking about because this is such an old game, right?
Yeah,
things like Metroid Prime 4 as a modern video game. Like, imagine if like you're just wandering around Findrana Drifts and like Ridley just comes down and you have like a fight with him just randomly,
just randomly fighting him. Like thinking about like walking around a Metroid environment like this, that's maybe like 2 or 3 times the size of these,
Yeah.
because these rooms are still like, it's a 2003 video game, I think
2002.
2002. So it's like, you have these pretty small boxes, environments that you're kind of going through. So to think of like, one of like a single map in Metroid Prime could just be like a small section in a main area in a Prime game potentially. Like to think
Yeah.
of like that on its own is like, wow, like yes, give me that video game right now.
Yeah, I'm so ready
Holy
for
crap!
that game.
Holy crap!
Yeah, I was definitely like more on the skeptical side of the controls of like, there's always been this conversation of like, oh, just port it to Switch and give it dual sticks. I'm like, okay, I mean, but it's not, it wasn't built like that.
Yeah,
So this new control scheme that they've made, I was like super happy to see how much work clearly went into making it work.
yeah,
It has like really good generous aim assist if you don't want to use the lock on stuff. And kind of tracking for if
right.
it's like in that circular cone, which is really great. And the lock on still works great. And
Yep.
you can go in and customize the controls to a point where like you can do the lock on but still move the reticle like you can with the motion controls and the Wii version. There's just so many. There's like great stuff for like people, new accessibility settings for like folks coming to this game for the first time. Where like it'll have you auto look down every time you jump and doing the platform sections, which I think is like super good. I know a lot of people do not like that about Destiny.
Yeah,
Just throw that out there.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
and I know some people, once you get a vibe for it, I think it gets pretty easy. But that's definitely been a thing I've seen people struggle with these games, first person platforming in general. But they've added stuff to kind of help with that. And this new control scheme is great. The classic is great. Using the GameCube controller is great, which I also did just to see what would happen. I also did the motion controls. Just I played through a section with it. I've been doing my hard mode playthrough, and those work really cool. I don't think they're as good as the Wii motion controls because with that it was like you hold the plus button and then point in a direction and it'll switch visors, and then you hold the minus button and point in a direction, it'll switch beams. So I liked that system a lot, and I actually really like those motion controls. I still think the trilogy is a great way to play this game. But I was worried that this would have things that I felt were missing, but no, they have that as an option if you want to play it that way. They have the European VO for the intro and outro cutscenes, which was exclusive to the European version, and the Japanese VO, which was not in the trilogy. They have new concept art for the game and the old concept art that you could unlock from the original game and the Metroid Prime trilogy. So you can kind of compare them before. And that new concept art is phenomenal, by the way. Check it out if you have not. Yeah, I'm like really, this is like top to bottom one of the best remasters I've just seen done. Period.
Agreed.
And Retro worked on this. Iron Galaxy worked on this. Multiple support studios worked on this. Someone I knew worked on this that I didn't know that they worked on this.
Oh, nice.
And I was like, oh, that's really cool, actually.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah, so this is what a treat.
Yeah, what an absolute treat that they just like also just like dropped this mid-direct again. Again, that was just like such a banger surprise thing to do. And I'm so happy this just exists on a modern way to play this game now at any time. Is like in some ways is all I really wanted. And the fact that we just got like this a little bit more above and beyond that of like it's a bunch of like really nice visual updates that like look really good. Even I know people like get on the Switch a lot for it having things, and a lot of those are pretty fair criticisms of like games just like running not great on that. But like when they nail it, they nail it. Like, and this remaster absolutely nails it. It looks so good. I really like the visual updates, while also keeping like the core and classic like vibe of that game still intact. Like that is like a very awesome feat for the people to do.
I like this. This might be a weird comparison, but the best comparison I could make, honestly, is The Last of Us Part 1. remaster for PS5. It feels a lot like that. Obviously, it's not a PS5 looking game, but like what they did with that game, all new textures everywhere, all new character models everywhere, and accessibility settings and control scheme options spruced in, very similar to that, in just like a very great way to play this game. I know a lot of y'all didn't have a GameCube. I know a lot of y'all didn't buy Metroid Dread like I asked you to. So please
buy this. It's friggin' only $40. It's cheaper. Like that's $40 absolute steal for $40 if you're asking somebody like me. But still, I am having so much fun with it, and I tell you, I'm gonna keep playing it. I'm gonna get that 100% for sure, and get all the stuff.
Yeah.
And just.
Took all of my self-control not to immediately boot up Metroid Prime 2 after finishing.
Yeah, I know, right? Now it's like now it's the weight of like, man, I can live with if they just port Prime 2 and Prime 3 to the I'll live if they do that, and I'll still buy them and play them. But man, I would if they could,
I would love this treatment.
To both of them now. I think it really will just. I think it'll just be a factor of like. Where is the status of Prime 4? Like if Retro is like full in on that now at this point, and like I think that probably then I'm like okay, fine, don't do the ports. Keep
just work on that.
Work on that. It's fine. But like who knows? Maybe if this does, who knows how well this will sell or perform? Again, because they kind of put it out initially as digitally. It's available digitally now, and the physical version of it will be out, I think, the 22nd of this month.
Yep.
So, like, I think that'll affect the sales of it in some ways, but like
it is already the number one on the eShop listing, though, which is I was very happy to see.
Yeah, that is definitely a good sign for it, and I hope it does really well, and I hope this also is the actual like. To an extent, we're ramping up for Prime 4. Like it's not like because I saw an article about this Prime Remastered was ESRB rated 18 months ago. So that means like they've just had this ready to go. Like they've said, there's definitely been a lot of talk about like Nintendo sometimes just holds on to stuff, and we just have known that's why like you hear when you had weird things like Miyamoto talking about Pikmin 4 years ago or whatever, and like always these rumors of like this thing exists.
Fire Emblem Engage, which was done for months.
Yeah, exactly. Like so like they've just had this for like 2.5, like almost 2 years. Just kind of like chilling on the back burner or whatever.
I heard that it started development in 2019. So yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. So yeah, I hope they've just been holding on this because they knew that like they started that with the idea that Prime 4 is going to take a lot longer. Let's do this now then. Kind of thing. It could be that because I know they like completely restarted the development of that.
They started. That's right. They started development of this remaster when Retro took over for Prime 4.
Yeah,
think about that.
Yeah, pretty much. So yeah, that's kind of the hope is that like now that they finally have put this out, that gives you a little bit more sightline of like okay, maybe now we'll start getting things. Maybe later this year we'll get Prime 2, and then maybe early next year we'll get Prime 3, and then maybe the following holiday, or maybe that. But granted that
don't
then
tease me like that.
But then granted, that leaves that means are we going to have 2 more years of the Switch, or is Prime 4 going to be maybe a launch game for something else now? Like
that's what I'm thinking.
Who knows?
Yeah. Or a first year game, I think.
Right. That's definitely now still the long tail, or much more long tail tangible thing now. Where like Prime 4 was always this ethereal thing for so long because of that restart of that development. Like, well, they're completely restarting development, so like this is just a I'm blanking on the term, but just like a non-existent video game, more or less now.
Yeah.
So now I just don't even want
vaporware.
Vaporware, yes, yes, exactly. Thank you. Yeah, basically now become like a vaporware thing where it'll happen when it happens. I don't even want to think about it until it becomes like a much more tangible thing.
I got Zelda in 3 months. I gotta. I'm not gonna think about it.
Yeah, but now like this Prime 1 remaster that at least like puts it in my mind a little bit more of like okay, if they're at least willing to put something like this out now, that means that means they're people like that means that thing like Prime 4 is probably becoming a more real thing now finally.
Yeah.
So that is
It's why they waited for sure. This
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
Grub was like, hey, you know, this could drop in November. And it's like clear, like they were going to announce and release it. Like, was the strategy is just the vibe that I get. But they waited for a reason, and no other reason comes to mind than Prime 4 and wherever that's at.
Yeah, for sure. But we'll have to see in the future what the future holds, because I think that's all we have to talk about here on this episode, or this trip to Nintendo Land, Alex.
Yeah.
It was.
Look forward to our Destiny 2 episode in March.
Yeah, I was gonna say. We'll be. Yeah, I was gonna say. We'll be back probably in March. I will say. I'm gonna say more realistically, it'll probably be end of March,
Yeah.
maybe even early April. Just because, again, like we said, we have a lot of Destiny to play pretty soon and to cover over on Helm to Tower. So hey, if you just if you are some cross section of people who listen to our Nintendo thing and and have not realized we do Destiny stuff, yeah, go check out youtube.com/Helm to Tower. But if you're not and you just like us, hey, we have another podcast that we're gonna be doing weekly, covering that stuff, so you can just listen to us to more if you want to do that for whatever reason. But yeah, thanks again everybody for joining us on a trip to Nintendo Land. We'll be back again, like I said, late March, early April, talk about more Nintendo stuff, probably some Mario Kart DLC. Hopefully maybe I'll play Octopath 2 by then, I don't know. And whatever else happens in the world of Nintendo, we'll see you then, and everyone have a good one. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.